Turning now to the story of a daughter desperate to find answers. Madison McGhee was 6 years old when her father was murdered, and now 21 years later, his case still remains unsolved. Now this has prompted Madison to take things into her own hands.
Ice Cold Case is a podcast where I, Madison McGhee, dive into the murder of my dad, JC McGhee, which was a very mysterious, questionable murder that happened in Belmont County, Ohio in 2002 and has remained unsolved ever since.
Oh, wow. For more on this case, I want to bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. He is in the studio with us this morning. Matt, good morning to you. My ears perked up when I heard her say Belmont County, Ohio. My first job in television news was reporting in a bureau in Belmont County.
Wow.
I hadn't heard of this case ever.
Yeah, and you know what? She's hoping that a lot of people that haven't heard of it now pick up the podcast, start listening, and call in some tips. So Madison McGhee got the idea by being a true crime fan herself, listening to other podcasts. Then in the start of the pandemic during 2020, she decided to tell her own story, dive deeper into the case, and get answers in the cold case of her father, John Cornelius McGhee, who went by JC. And here is what she told me, what police shared with her about the case. Take a listen.
This is what happened according to the police. So, on the morning of July 11th, 2002, my dad's sister, who lived next door to my dad, her house was broken into, and her son Omar was there with his girlfriend Kim, and the three of them were in the house, and four-ish men broke into their house, tied them up with phone cords, this is 2002, and laid them flat on the ground, put blankets over their heads, poured rubbing alcohol on them, and said that they were going to light them on fire if they didn't give them money. Now, this money was supposedly in a safe that was in the house somewhere, according to these guys. They couldn't find it, and after about 35 minutes, they took Omar outside, and they ended up at my dad's house. Now, there's something that happened in these 5 minutes outside that the police speculate could have been Omar saying, "We don't have money, but maybe my uncle JC has money," or they just somehow ended up at my dad's house. They kicked my dad's door in, where my dad had heard some rumblings outside, so he had gotten out of bed, was walking to the door, hadn't quite made it to the door yet when the door was kicked in, one kill shot to my dad's head, and the men ran and left.
Madison says that she has her own theories, and she walks you through those during the podcast. The podcast has generated some tips, Julie, but so far no arrests in the case.
Oh my gosh, Matt, this is really something. Has she been back to that area? She doesn't live there now, right?
Right, she lives in LA, and she has made it back to that area. Madison tells me that she thought everyone was going to embrace the project, but they haven't, not so much. Everyone loved JC, her father. He was very funny, she's told. He loved his friends and family, but he also had struggles. He struggled with addiction. He was also a police informant, and not everyone wants to relive the details of his death. I was reading that maybe it's some of your family members that are not so excited, and that kind of surprised me.
In some sense, I understand this is deeply personal. This is a lot of private information that's coming out. But in my mind, it's sort of this question of, do the means justify the ends? Is it worth putting everything out there for the world to see if it solves the case? And so I think that that's a personal moral decision, and we all hold our own opinions on that. And so as I get deeper into this and I'm putting more out there, it's clear that our morals are conflicting in that way. And then also the question is there more to that? Are they covering something up that they don't want out? Or is it truly just they're not really that interested in this becoming so public? I don't know.
This case, very fascinating. The podcast right there on your screen called Ice Cold Case, where you get your pods. Anyone with information in this case, in the murder of John Cornelius McGhee, encouraged to call police, Belmont County Sheriff's Office, or Crime Stoppers, Julie.
They're good people at that sheriff's office. Matt, I used to talk to them many years ago. This case getting a lot of attention. Maybe now that it's kind of warming up, the national media is taking a look at it. Maybe with some fresh sets of eyes, some answers can be had. Matt Johnson, our resident true crime expert, thank you so much for your early reporting this morning. We'll talk with you later.